And we should be good to go. Awesome. Okay. Just give it 1 second. 1 second. I want to make sure the audio is good. All right. I want to make sure the audio is good. Testing. Okay, so welcome to the Daily Self-Love Ritual Challenge. I am your host and your coach for the next 7 days. I am super excited about this challenge. This is something that I'm going to introduce myself in just a second, but this is something that I have been wanting to do and release for many years. You'll learn a lot about what the Daily Self-Love Formula is over the next 7 days, but this is something that I've wanted to do for, like I said, a few years, because I've been teaching this for some time. So if you don't know who I am, and this is your first time coming across me or hearing my voice or hearing my name, like I said, my name is Sina Martin, and I am a healing and a confidence coach. And what I really do is I help women, preferably, or should I say mostly at times, not preferably, but most times I help mothers and women really work to heal their past wounds, heal from emotional hurt, build their confidence, and work on making over their mindset so that they can move into a realm where they're living their best lives and they're able to walk away from their most abusive relationships, so that they can see that love doesn't have to hurt, and they're able to express that in their careers and their passions, and how they go out and live and work in the world, right? So you don't know my story. I will get into my story in today's call, or tonight's kickoff call. But that's who I am, and that's basically what I do. So what you're going to be learning for the next 7 days, right? What you're going to be learning for the next 7 days is what's called my Daily Self-Love Formula. And it's contained inside of this challenge. So my Daily Self-Love Ritual Challenge is a 7-day challenge that teaches you how to get your confidence back and how to spark that much needed boost so that you can love what you see in the mirror and be more happy, even when life knocks you down. Okay. Even when life knocks you down. And this challenge is primarily for professionals, mothers, like I said, women who are struggling to love themselves and feel confident after starting or losing a detrimental relationship. You might be a man also listening to this. Sometimes we do have a few gentlemen who join us. So if that is you, I welcome you as well. We don't turn anyone away who wants to learn these principles and these strategies. But my goal really is to spend the next 7 days, like I said, with you in this challenge to help you dramatically increase your confidence, boost your self-esteem, and unleash a wave of spiritual positive energy in your life. If you're new to this type of work, most likely if you're taking this challenge, you're really not new to personal development. But if you're new to this type of work, or you just need some serious clarity in your life or business to end or continue the year strong, then this challenge will, without a doubt, get you there. Okay. Depending on when you're listening to this, you may even be in the beginning of the year and you're trying to spark up some new results and some new transformation in your life. Wherever you are, that's what I'm going to help you do in the next 7 days. Okay. So for the next 7 days, you'll be taking daily actionable steps that are scientifically and historically proven to change your reality, change your perspective, and increase your confidence dramatically. And let me just tell you how this formula and how this challenge was birthed, right? I don't want you to be under the impression that this is something I just threw together, or this is something that just, came from some inspiration I got through a movie or something. This is actually what I've lived. This is actually my experience. So how the Daily Self-Love Formula came into existence was before I got into business, before I became the driven entrepreneur that I am now. I was a teenage mom. I was a teenage mom, and I was really, really, really struggling to find my consistency. I was struggling to find my consistency. I was struggling to find just my balance in life. It felt like I would work really hard, achieve something, it would be snatched away. And then I worked really hard, I would achieve something else, and that would get snatched away too. And what happened was I experienced a few years of that. At some point, I moved into my first real home. It was my first time leasing or renting out a home. And I moved in there with my now fiance and my son. And it was an incredible experience. It was the first time I had, like I said, on my own, had my own home to live in. And it should have been a celebratory moment, because up until that point, I had been renting an apartment. I had been evicted twice, lived with a few friends, slept on some couches, slept in a friend's basement at one point with my family. So once we got to the space where I had a home, it should have been a celebratory experience, but it wasn't. What happened was I moved in, and I completely hated who I saw in the mirror. I was so unhappy with this girl, and I couldn't stand to even be around myself. I was very sad. I would cry when my son wasn't looking. I would go to work, roll out the bed in the morning, take him to school, go work my nursing assistant job, come home, put on my sweats, put on my big baggy t-shirts, and just kind of eat myself into unhealthy habits. And I wouldn't put on makeup or get dressed. I was existing, right? Some of you may be listening to this, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was existing instead of living. And it was a really dark time for me. I couldn't seem to find my light or my happiness. Even though I was in this big, 3-story townhouse, it didn't matter. On the inside, I felt empty and dead. So I went through that. I kept tumbling through that way of being for a few months, right? And I got to this point where, again, I hit that wall. I didn't pay some bills on time, and boom, I was facing another eviction from the first house that I had moved into with my family. And I was like, oh God, why am I going through this again? Why is this happening to me again? Is it not enough that I'm not happy with who I am? Is it not enough that I can't look in the mirror and be happy with that girl? Does this have to go on too? And I came to realize that I was the only one who could change my situation. There was no one else who was going to teach me how to love me, how to take care of me, how to protect me, how to make sure my family was provided for. There was no one who was going to pull me out of my funk and out of the hole. I had to do it on my own. And I literally remember the day I was in the shower at that home, and it hit me, and I felt this just awakening come into the room, and it woke me up. It kind of shook me, and I broke down crying. I broke down crying in tears, and I was like, oh my God, all of this keeps happening to me because I am not taking responsibility for how I love and how I look at me. That was it. I couldn't be confident in my money. I couldn't be confident in the way I was being a mother. I couldn't even be confident enough to build a solid foundation because I was so stuck in this space of self-sabotaging myself, self-pitying myself, and repeating the cycle and repeating the circle over and over and over and over again. So you know what I did? I picked myself up out of that situation, and there was a room and on the third floor of the home. There was a room at the very top of the house. Like I said, it was a 3-story townhouse, right? We had the basement, the main floor, and then there was it wasn't an attic, but it was a third floor. And we went upstairs. I remember when we walked upstairs, there was a door on the main floor that had a mirror on the back of it. And when you opened the door, you would go in and you would make a sharp left. And there were these wooden steps that would take you all the way upstairs to the third floor. It was kind of creepy, right? Like we could have had some type of Halloween party or something. It was really creepy, actually, but I turned it into something positive, right? So I walked up these wooden steps. You walk up these wooden steps, and they were creaky. Everything was wood. The house was actually extremely old. Um, and you walk up, and then there was a room at the top of the wooden steps. There was a room to your left, and there was a room to your right. Both rooms were extremely old. Everything was made of wood. I remember we would get wasps that would come in sometimes through the windows and through like the creaks because everything was just old and wooden, right? But I didn't care. I took the room that was on the left and I made it my like prayer space. I turned this into like my personal love room, I guess you could call it, right? Or let's call it my daily self-love room. That's what I turned it into. And what I did was I took I took affirmations and I wrote them out on like this colorful construction paper. That's exactly what I did. I went to the store and I got maybe 2 or 3 pieces of colorful construction paper, and I cut them into these I cut them into these squares, and I wrote down, actually it was my goals. I wrote my goals as if they were like affirmations. So I said, I'm so happy and grateful now that I pay all of my bills on time, right? On one. And then I was like, I'm so happy and grateful that I have a network full of encouraging, empowering business owners and lawyers and friends who are always fulfilling and bringing value to my life, and I bring value to theirs, right? So stuff like that. I was writing out my goals, and I was literally like creating this life that I knew I could do and I knew I could have in this room. So anyway, I filled the entire room. Picture it in your head. It was this real big old wooden room, spider webs and stuff on the ceiling, but it was beautiful. It was almost like a wooden cabin. So I filled the walls up with my declarations and my affirmations and all these kinds of things. And every day, every morning, I could remember it like it was like yesterday. Every morning at 7:30 a.m., my son would go off to school. I would walk him to school. And then I would come home and I would scurry up to that room, close the door. It had an old door that wouldn't just close all the way, but it closed enough that I could get some privacy. I would close that door, go in that room. There was also a mirror in there, a full body mirror. And I would literally sit on the floor, on the wooden creaky floor in front of that mirror. And I would do these steps. I would do these steps every day, every day, every day, every day. Days I didn't feel like it. Days I was sick. One morning I woke up and I actually got bit. I actually got stung. I actually got stung by one of the wasps that came in the house through the window, but I didn't care. I rolled on over, took the stinger thing out my arm, and I patched it on up, and I went upstairs and I did these actions and I did these steps over and over and over again. Anyway, I did that for gosh, I can't even tell you how long. It was months and months and months. And I did it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. And it created this transformation. There's no other word I can even give it to you. Right. And I'm not going to, I'm going to get through this because I actually want to get to the actual steps that I did. Right. But anyway, I did this for months, and it created this world around me that I could physically touch and see and smell and taste from these steps that I was doing every single day. And it really transformed my life, because from that point, I was able to come into success in my business, success in my personal life. I fell deeper in love with my boyfriend, who then later became my fiance after that. That's when my coaching business was born and birthed. I actually got my first coaching client. I was so excited about that. I got my first coaching client, and fast forward maybe a year from that moment, and I was able to retire full time at the age of 25. I was 25, I remember, because I sent in my thank you and my resignation letter in October, and my birthday was coming up the following February. So I was 25, about to be 26. And I was able to go full-time entrepreneur. And then a year from that, not only was I able to retire, go full-time entrepreneur, I was able to take care of my son, travel the world for 6 months, and hit over 6 figures in my business. And I know all of it stemmed from those months where I had literally pennies to my name, an eviction letter sitting downstairs on my old like vinyl dining room table that was sitting in my kitchen. And I would take myself up to that room and do these steps over and over and over and over again. All of it led back to that in the grace of God. That's how I got to that later point where my life looked completely different. And everything I had written on that wall was a reality. So I tell you that story to say to you that the funniest thing I learned about that moment, was that it wasn't the material success that made me feel so successful. It was the way I felt about myself. It was the level of self-love I had at that moment when I had accomplished those things. And I can remember what it felt like being in that, old wooden house. I realized it was how I felt about me and the self-love and the confidence. That was what transformed me. And that is what gave me the platform, or like the launching pad, for me to be able to go out there and create success and create success and create it again and create it again. And now I realize that's a trampoline. If you have those traits and you know how to do those things, you'll be able to create what you're looking for over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter if you're successful today and you lose it all tomorrow, because if you have that launching pad of self-love and confidence, and you can see yourself in a light that you have to see yourself in, because sometimes other people can't see it for you at all, you'll never fail. And that was the transformation. That is what took me from hating the girl I saw in the mirror to loving her unconditionally, and being able to say, I'm setting this goal for myself and I know I'm going to hit it regardless of whatever is happening around me. Okay, so that is how the daily self-love ritual formula was birthed. And that is what I'm going to be taking you through this week. And should I say these next 7 days for the daily self-love ritual challenge. That's how it was birthed, and that's how I got here. So I want to walk you through what this looks like, what you can expect, how to prepare. And on tonight's kickoff call, you're going to really get the details on how you can ensure that you also receive the same, if not a greater transformation from these steps and from this challenge than I did, by making sure that you're here, making sure you're involved, and making sure that you do everything in your power to get the transformation that you took this challenge for. The worst thing you could do is enroll in something or take a course like this, or take a challenge where literally your success is just on the other side of you doing the work, and then show up lazy or show up self-sabotaging yourself and not do the work. But I know that's not you, and that's not why you're here. So we're going to continue and get right into this. All right. Okay. So like I said, the 7-day challenge is my daily self-love formula. Okay. Created to increase your confidence, boost your self-esteem, and unleash a wave of spiritual positive energy in your life. Okay. So here's what you're going to receive now that you've joined the Daily Self-Love Ritual Challenge. You're going to actually gain access to 3 things. A downloadable and printable workbook, okay, that has the exercises that you're going to need for each day of the Daily Self-Love Challenge, okay? You're also going to get a daily affirmation every single morning that'll be inside of our Facebook group. So let me tell you now, if you're not inside of the Confidence Catchers Facebook group, you need to make sure you're joining in there now, okay? Because if you're doing this in the first round, which means you're one of the first people taking this challenge, okay, then all of the information is going to be inside of that group. And if you're taking this at a later date, all of this information will be inside of your personal account. Okay. But for now, make sure you're a member and you're inside the Confidence Catchers Facebook group, because you're going to need to be there to access all of this information. Okay. So every morning you'll get a daily affirmation, a confidence declaration, which is something for you to, like I said, something you need to declare, something you need to speak out, something you need to speak over your life every single morning. And it's the same thing I did when I was in that room repeating those affirmations and those declarations that were sitting on my wall. I was calling my goals into reality. Okay. So that's what you're going to be doing every morning for the next 7 days. You'll get one every day. You'll get your confidence declaration, and then you'll get one assignment for you to do every day, okay? Also, for the next 7 days, you'll get 7 calls. So tonight is our kickoff call. You can consider it the first call. And for the next 7 days, you're going to have a call with me like this every single evening. All of the other calls won't last this long. They'll usually be about 15 minutes. This call is the longest because it's the kickoff, and I need to make sure that you have all of the details and you know what to expect and how to proceed when taking this challenge, okay? This is me setting the tone for the challenge so you know what to do, okay? I do the conference calls every night to hold you accountable. I'm acting right now as your coach and your accountability partner in these private conference call settings, okay? You will have a 60 to 75% greater challenge of being successful at this if you have somebody holding you accountable. And my job is to make sure that you're showing up to do the work. Your job is to actually do the work, okay? I'm giving you all the tools. I'm giving you everything you need. It's your job to do the work, period. All right? Okay, so also you'll get access to a community of like-minded, high-energy women and men who seek results just like you and are passionate about making a serious change. They're passionate about making a serious change, okay? The bonus for you joining this challenge is a 30-minute strategy call with me after you do all 7 days of the challenge. You actually show that you've done all 7 days of the challenge, and you post your work in the Facebook group, and you say your declaration. You actually follow through with the daily self-love ritual every single day, and you show and prove that you've done that, which is by participating inside of the Facebook group. After that's completed for this week, you're going to have a 30-minute strategy call with me, which is it's a $250 value. And that's for you to share your biggest obstacle in your self-love or your confidence development with me, so that you and I together can build a strategy to help you overcome it and really see the results that you're looking for. And that's just an added layer of accountability and coaching that I wanted to hand to you one-to-one, so that if you're really struggling with this after you go, or you're really struggling with just one part after you go through the 7 days, you have, me physically there with you to go ahead and make sure that you're accomplishing your goal and you're really hitting that transformation without being stuck trying to figure it out on your own. Okay, so that's how the challenge works. And I just want you to know, there's not going to be any guesswork. There's nothing going to be left to the imagination. You're going to get instant access to my 20 plus years of experience, insights, and resources to help you overcome the obstacles that are keeping you stuck in your cycle of self-sabotage. Most importantly, you're going to walk away from this challenge with the ultimate ability to control your thoughts so that you can reroute them to unbreakable success at any moment in time. You know what it is? The thing about this that is so magnificent is that in just 1 week, it's only going to take you 1 week. And obviously, you're going to do the work beyond that. But in just 1 week, you're going to know how to get your confidence back. And you're going to know how to spark the fire that you need inside of you so that you can love what you see in the mirror and know how to be extremely unconditionally happy, even when life knocks you down. That's a trait. And once you get that, nobody can take that from you. I want you to leave from here crystal clear on who and what is contributing to your negative thought pool. And I want you to make sure you know the steps that you have to take to get rid of it. I want you to identify the best parts of you and catch enough confidence in yourself to put a spotlight on your best assets in the world. I want you to discover exactly what activities are making you feel bad all the time and release whatever is holding you back from controlling your own destiny. Lastly, I want to make sure that you get your hands on this surefire way to build your confidence quickly and forgive whoever has scarred you so that you can become mentally and spiritually strong, because that is where the transformation is going to happen. Okay, so get in the group right now. Make a post about why you are taking this challenge. make sure that you go through this kickoff information. You'll also see inside of the group a website where you can go and download the workbook you're going to need for this challenge, or depending on where you're watching or listening to this audio, just look below and you'll be able to download the workbook that you're going to need. Work through day one, which has everything to do with your physical appearance. And don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Let me tell you, I'm going to make you uncomfortable for the next week. If you have never coached with me, welcome to the experience, because you're going to uproot some things you didn't know were there. You're going to dig into some areas that, you might be uncomfortable, or you might not be too sure about sharing. But once you do it, you'll really see the difference. You'll really see that person that you can be come out in a way where you haven't allowed it to happen before. So download the workbook you're going to need. Make sure you go through day one's information. Make sure that you print out the actual daily self-love ritual steps, because you need to be doing those once a day, preferably in the morning before you go to work, after you take your children to school. If you can get up earlier, like 6, 7 a.m., and you have an hour or so before you have to get your day started, that would be ideal for you to get your ritual done. I will be reminding you, and there will be reminders going out in the group to make sure that you're doing it. But that's it. Every day, do your self-love ritual. Make sure you're saying your declarations, and make sure that you are doing the exercises in the workbook for that day. Don't cheat yourself, okay? Really give yourself the space to transform. And I am incredibly excited to share this blessing that was given to me in my life with you through this challenge. Okay. So lastly, welcome to the Daily Self-Love Ritual Challenge. I'm Sina Martin, and I'm so excited to have you and share this with you. I'll see you on the next call. Bye-bye.